case is closed. We're done.
Deplorable living conditions do not amount to a crime. That's according to the Whitfield County District Attorney. Good evening. I'm Calvin Sneed.
I'm Kim Chapman. Tiffany Gibson's 19-month-old son, Terry, died in January. Hannah Lawrence tells us now how Gibson is moving on after originally being charged in her son's death. Hannah.
Kim and Calvin, Tiffany Gibson says she just wants to live her life with her daughter and not have everyone on her back. She didn't want to say anything else today, but Terry's other family members did.
Carla Banks says dropping charges against her nephew's mother sends the message that the government doesn't care if children are living in filth.
I have no more faith in this justice system.
According to this report, 19-month-old Terry Gibson's sister found him dead in his crib, covered in feces and vomit back in January. His mother, Tiffany, was charged with cruelty to children. But after an autopsy report revealed Terry died from bacterial meningitis, the DA is clearing her name.
Neither child was malnourished. Neither child had any health problems other than the meningitis.
Doctors say the illness that killed Terry is spread person to person.
There are certainly some conditions in the home that were not appropriate, some parenting that was not appropriate, but those weren't connected to the death of the child.
But Banks says even so, it's not fair that Terry and his sister were living in deplorable conditions. Under Tennessee law, parents can be charged with endangerment for putting kids in a potentially harmful situation. But in Georgia,
if there's not any actual harm to the children, and that can be mental or physical harm, it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical harm, then in Georgia, there's not a crime for that.
Poston says there was no indication that Terry or his 5-year-old sister were suffering mentally because of their living conditions.
You could speculate that that was not a healthy environment, but in terms of being able to prove actual mental pain to the children, there wasn't any evidence to support that.
Tonight, even though the DA is putting Terry's case behind him,
our case is closed. We're done.
Banks is not.
Oh, I'm not done. They're going to hear me. I'm not done.
We asked the Department of Family and Children's Services if it was still investigating Tiffany Gibson for the living conditions her children were found in. They couldn't comment on the case, saying Georgia state law prevents them from doing so. Kim.
Hannah, thank you. Terry's sister was 5 years old when he died, and according to the DA, her grandparents have had her custody since then.